I was going to say what a week, but if you'd have said Captain, it's Wednesday, I think I might shut myself out the window. Long week. Legitimately, for those of you who, the few of you that will have given a shit, the reason episode 300 is so late going onto the actual feed is because I haven't had time to upload it. And yes, it does only take 15 minutes. That's what my week's been like. Welcome to episode 301. I'm Jack, as always, joined by Casey.
No.
How's things, mate?
Like you, I am tired.
Yeah, very tired. Burnley 0, Leeds 0. Genuinely, do you even want to talk about this match?
No.
Cool.
It might have been worth it if it was shortly after the game, but what needed to be said about the game has been said, and there wasn't a lot of that.
No, I mean, Roden man at match has to be one at defenders.
It's him or Steve.
Yeah, or if you believe Sky, Steve was Paolo Maldini and Franco Baresi all rolled into one.
He's not. I saw him run 10 yards with the ball, and he did not want that thing.
Is there anything else to say about it? Yeah, the only other thing I'll say about it is that was a Joe Peru performance that should get him dropped. He was really poor. And KC is really frozen on my screen.
Yeah,
I haven't said it for a while. Yeah, there we go. He's back. Yeah, I was going to say he's not moving or talking. That's not good. But yeah, Joe Peru's performance I thought was bad enough that I think you sort of have to drop him on principle for the next game.
I don't know. I don't think he played well. Like, he didn't get a lot of service. When he did get some service, his touch was horrendous.
I believe he completed one pass in the Burnley half.
I mean, I think they said on the square ball, what was it? Certainly in the last 8 games, it was by far and away the match with the fewest touches, combined touches in the opposition's penalty area. There was not a lot going on here. But I didn't think James or Solomon were particularly great in possession either. Brendan Aronson saw a football coming towards him as if it was a car. It
wasn't good.
No, it was not good.
And we were the better attacking side of the two. It was a dreadful game of football, but it was a decent point. Genuinely, that's enough said about that game. Just tidying stuff up. Apparently, Jeremy? No, that's not his name. Jeremiah Mullen is off to Dunfermline. Sure. I actually quite liked the look of him about 2-3 years ago when we first got him. I think he came from Liverpool. But he doesn't appear to have stepped on at all, which is the case with a lot of the kids that we sign. And on a similar note, Sonny Perkins has signed permanently for Leyton Orient about 25 minutes ago.
I wonder if he'll settle now that he's back in London.
Maybe, but from the little bits I've read, and I haven't been seeking it out, he has been doing all right at Leyton Orient. There wasn't anything that I saw about a fee, but when this was talked about a few days ago, it was expected to be a low fee, but a decent size sell on. So we'll see if he kicks on. But he'll always have that FA Cup goal away at Cardiff.
Yeah, he will.
And he also did play in the league on the opening day of last season.
I mean, I'm not surprised. Obviously, with everything that was going on, by January, it very much seemed a case of wherever you need to go.
Yeah, well, it was last season, wasn't it? Because he played that one. He got like 5 minutes off the bench at the end. He didn't really play that much, but he went out on loan somewhere. I can't remember where. Oxford.
Sure.
Oxford United in League One, and they sent him back in January. And because he'd played that 5 minutes, he couldn't go out and loan somewhere else, so he was just sat, not even playing in the 21s for the second half of last season. It really didn't work out, that move, considering how highly rated he was and how pissed off West Ham fans were that we'd managed to nab him. It just really didn't work out.
See Cody Drama.
Yeah, Cody Drama looked a lot more impressive than Sonny Perkins did for us, unfortunately. But on the other end, we do have our first two links that are strong enough for us to bother bringing up. Which, on the 31st of January...
And it's not Eddie Buendia, because that dream is dead.
Yeah, it's dead. He's gone to Leverkusen. And as much... obviously, pick Leeds, obviously. But Bayer Leverkusen are in the Champions League and won the league last year and stuff like that. So I can't really get mad. But the first one is Matt Targett from Newcastle, which keeps being talked about over and over again, but all at the Newcastle end. I don't see this happening because it doesn't really make sense to me. They're not all proper left backs, but we have plenty of options at left back.
Yeah, I don't. He's not he's not a knock on him. He's just not the sort of left back I want. I want Junior Firpo. Is what I want, because I think in the Championship he's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sure, but I could take a leave it.
Yeah. If it was like loan to the end of the season, like the Connor Roberts deal was, I'd be all right with it. But it sounds, but he's there and it's fine. But if the stories at the Newcastle end are right, it was like somewhere between 3 and 5 million, and I just cannot see that being true. The more exciting one, Cameron Archer from Southampton. Obviously, he scored a shed load of goals in Championship whenever he's dropped down to it. He's the striker that was number one on my list to sign when we signed Joe Peru. Obviously, he hasn't kicked on at Southampton. He's only scored a couple of goals this season, but he has played plenty. Just a lot of it's been off the bench. I'm not sure how many games he's actually played, but I feel like he's getting on the pitch, but not loads. Yeah, 21 appearances.
Yeah. So like you say, in terms of minutes, it's probably...
But I really like Cameron Archer whenever. Even going back to when he was at Villa and they started using him at League Cup and stuff, I always thought he was good. Quick. He runs in behind really well, which is probably one of the main things we lack when we play Joe Peru. Joseph runs in behind as well, but he doesn't seem to time his runs as well as Archer does. And Archer is probably a better finisher than Joseph, but he's definitely a much more experienced finisher. Like he has it. He's done it before, so you're not waiting to see if he can become that guy. He's already that guy.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose for me, my concern with any signing like that is, and this might well be harsh to have this opinion of him at 23, is that if you could get him in on loan for the rest of the season, it's probably a decent deal for us.
Which it's worth me saying is apparently what our opening bid was, but that was rejected.
Because I mean, kind of, you'd think Southampton don't maybe want to sell him, given the position they're in and where they are going to be next season.
Given they will want him next season for the exact same reason we want him now.
Yeah. And chances are, if we sign him now, he may go full Vazte of just, yes, we've signed this lad for 6 months. What have we signed him on? Oh, it's a 4.5-year deal. And then all of a sudden, you've got a player who's not going to get into your starting lineup, or I don't know. Like, yeah, it makes all the sense in the world if you can do it as a short-term deal. I just think long-term, I think you're going to end up paying a decent amount of money for someone that you're not going to want for very long. In my very arrogant-minded. We are getting promoted this season.
Well, you should be a bookie, mate. We're 1-20 now. Still mental. The noises are that like they don't want to do it, but if we did loan with a future fee that was high enough, then they'd be up for it. It does sound like Archer's up for it based on the noises, but you don't know how true all that is. I would like us to sign him, but I have no idea if it's going to happen. I think this exact team is better with Archer in it than it is now. But there was something that someone said that is true. With the way he plays and his style of play, there is a very real chance he'd end up playing him in place of Allenson at 10 rather than playing him up front anyway, because of the way Farke profiles players, which is a bit of a more difficult one. There was a story going around today that, Marcus Edwards at Sporting, one that came through at Spurs and was expected to be an absolute world beater. Well, he's been playing pretty well out there. And there was a story linking him when he moved to Sunderland. And if that's true, that's the one we should be jumping on. Because I know we don't need a winger, but he's a left-footed, play off the right type of winger who also can play 10 a lot. And he's really creative and really skillful. And, strikes a ball well and stuff. And if he's actually available, that'd be the one that I would be trying to do. But I'd be happy with Archer. But as we're out with Leeds, we'll see what happens. But I doubt anything will happen.
I mean, there is always the chance, but you're at that point now where with only second the transfer window
Monday.
Closes.
I'm assuming 11 p.m. I haven't checked, but it will. I think it's Monday.
Yeah. If you're gonna buy someone in this window, unless you're getting someone in cheap as a backup somewhere, I just struggle to see the value in doing. I don't want to sound like Victor Orta. The value in players in January is not aligned with their ability. But if we're looking at a number 9 and someone who is going to get, let's generously say, score 1 in 3, either you realistically you want to be looking at someone who is potentially in the last 6 months of his contract, but if you really, the other side of that is if you're someone who has got that sort of goal record and is in the last 6 months of your contract, you're probably holding out till the end of the season at that point and seeing what you can get on a free. Like, it's either or you pay the money.
Yeah, it's
and I don't think we will.
that's the situation we're in. The players that are good enough that we'd want them are probably too expensive. So it's a bit of a middling thing, but we'll see if I can pull something out of the bag. Hopefully, they can find. You're sort of hoping that they can find someone who's playing in, I don't know, Norway or Sweden, that like we've maybe never heard of, but that's where there might be some value. Speaking of signing Norwegians, I'll use that because Cardiff have signed Sivert Mansverk on loan from Ajax, who you might remember was an absolute wonder kid on FM a few years ago. So they've got him on loan from Ajax, but as they've only just signed him, he probably won't play this one. He'll probably be on the bench. I have a question for you, Casey.
Mm-hmm.
Did you realise Cardiff are unbeaten in 8 games?
What? Aren't they shit, though?
They definitely were. Like, they absolutely were shit when we played them last. They are up to 18th, but is it Omer Rizza, the new manager? Yeah. They got him because it was a Umar Bullet when we played them. And they have...
They've got a type.
Yeah, but they have got 4 wins and 4 draws in their last 8 games. Normally, I wouldn't include the FA Cup game, but they won away at Sheffield United. I know Sheffield United rotated a lot and stuff, but still, it was a decent win. And I'm looking at their team now. And with them bringing in a few players, they're still not great by any means, but it does look a bit better than it did before. Their expected front four now is sort of technically pretty good. Because, Callum Robinson, who was quite good at West Brom, he's been playing as a number 9 instead of off the wing, which has allowed him to play like El Ghazi out wide, who isn't playing every week, but he's still technically pretty good. They've also got Chris Willock that can play out there as well. And a young lad called Cian Ashford, who I'd never heard of before, but a quick Google suggests that Cardiff fans think he's the next big thing. And I haven't seen enough to... He must have shown something for him to be quite happy about. And Alex Robertson, who's... he's like... How old is he now? He's 21. He's Scottish, but he was... he's got one of those... He's one of those interesting ones. Place of birth, Dundee, Scotland. And then you've got Australia under 15s, England under 16, 17, 18, Australia under 19, and then 2 caps for Australia. However, he's played 20-odd games this season, and he's now like the starting number 10 and appears to have become a bit the main man for them. I don't know much about him. It's all second-hand stuff. They've also got Ollie Tanner that can play out wide, and that Yaku Mete, who's still going, who feels like he must be 100 years old. But he is 28. He feels like he should be 100 years old, and he is 7 years younger than I am. Yes, cat. So, yeah, up front, they look pretty decent. Now, the rest of it doesn't look as good. Like, Joe Rawls in midfield is okay. And he's been playing in centre mid with the competition winner, as my dad always called him, Callum Chambers. Because my dad is convinced that Callum Chambers might be the worst footballer that's ever stepped foot on a football pitch. You know when you have that guy who every time you watch him is awful? That's what Callum Chambers was for my dad. Every single game he watched him, he'd drop a bollock. But that only counts on the telly because we were there when he scored that really nice goal for Villa at Elland Road. Or at least I'm pretty sure we were there. That could be a false memory. It might have even been the COVID season. But he definitely scored a decent goal. Villa won 3-0. I think it was the season after the COVID season. At the back, they look less good. Like Jack Anakin goes okay, but it's been Andy Minamoto at right back, who's a midfielder. Perry Ng at left back, who's a right back. And this is just pure Leeds fan ignorance. Dalland and Gutas is quite settled as the centre-back there. I've never heard of either of them.
Oh, sorry. I thought that was one
No,
person.
not Dalland and Gutas. Dalland and Gutas.
That'd be a great name, though.
I mean, Dalland and Gutas, I think I got him out of Hammarby's academy. Oh, brother, on that subject, just as a quick aside, didn't Football Manager say they were going to finally announce everything in January? And isn't it 6:20 on the 31st of January? Yeah. So, having had a glance through at Cardiff, Casey, is there anyone that stands out to you, really?
No, not really. No, I'm looking at the list now. It's just no. Like you say, attacking wise, there's some decent options there. I don't know what the state of Aaron Ramsey's legs are. At
he's
this
out
point.
injured.
Is
Yeah,
he
he's out injured.
Of course he is. Like Callum Robinson is a decent championship player. Very much knows the league at this point. Yeah. But again, not a massive goal scorer. What's he done this season? This actually, fair play. This is one of his best seasons. He has 10 goals in 22 appearances this season.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Which the last time he scored 10 in a season was the 18-19 season.
Is that West Brom?
That's Preston.
Right. Before, because he had one decent season for West. I was going to say good season for West Brom, but what I actually remember is he scored at Stamford Bridge and he scored a couple of big goals. He might not have actually got that many. He just had a couple of good.
Yeah, his best season for them was like 7 in 43 in the Championship.
Yeah, so it's actually just that he scored some
He-
big goals that I remember, rather than a lot of them.
Yeah,
I must admit, after Callum Robinson,
in terms
it
of
really
professional
does drop
football,
off in terms of the goal scoring. Like that, Robertson's got 3, El Ghazi's got 3, Willock and Ashford and Ollie Tanner have all got 2.
So Callum Robinson scoring then, yeah.
Well, no, just because of my dad, Callum Chambers is scoring.
Yeah.
From a Leeds perspective, obviously Bamford's still out. Verber's had another flare up with his knee because we've got to the end of the transfer window now and no moves happened, so he's injured again, allegedly. But Pascal Strout's been training all week. I doubt he starts this.
I don't think he needs to.
Yeah, it's probably not worth throwing him in for this. And we've also, you don't really need to take the chance on him when we've got a game Wednesday as well.
Yeah, I think for me, you're looking at, I think Rothwell comes back in for Gruev because I don't really think Gruev did. And again, this is sort of a reflection on the whole performance at Burnley as well, but I can't say Gruev did anything of note that made me think I should probably start again.
I don't think that we didn't against Burnley as it goes, but I wanted Gruev to play against Burnley because I thought we might need the slightly more defensive midfielder. I don't think we'll really need it in this one.
No, and I think Firpo coming in is probably a good shout as well.
Yeah, I would hope so. Firpo back in would definitely, but I think it'll still be Ampadu at centre back for this one, and then maybe for the Coventry game you might get, because Coventry away, like XG table wise, I think Coventry are second in the table. They've actually been a lot better. Basically, because Mark Robins should have never got sacked. They're actually a bit unlucky this season. And it's starting to turn from now because they're going back towards the average. But yeah, I reckon Meslier in goal, Bogle, Rudd and Ampadu, Firpo. I think you've got to bring Firpo back in this time. I'm surprised we didn't against Burnley.
Yeah.
Rothwell and Tanaka. Do you think it'll just be James Aronson and Sullivan as the 3?
Yeah.
I would quite like to see Ramazani, but I don't think we will. And I think if I was willing on to, I'd have been pissed off because he didn't get on at all, did he, against Burnley? And I'd be a bit pissed off if I was him.
Yeah, if Dan James had been playing well, I could have sort of understood it, but I don't think he had a particularly good game, and I didn't see why he didn't get at least 10 minutes in there. Well, no, I do know why, because Farker takes no chances.
Because 1 minute into the game, both teams had settled for a point.
Yeah. I think as you described it, West Germany versus Austria.
In the, I'm going to say 1982 World Cup.
I think you're on with that one. I think you've got
the disgrace of Hee-Hong was 1982. Yes, there we
go. And then, no, I still think it's Peru.
You say I think it will be Joseph for this one because I think if you don't drop Peru after that one, you sort of, unless he's using it to send a message to the board of sign a striker. Like,
no, I think he's sending a message to Mateo Joseph. Like, I think this is no, it's not you.
I would absolutely. I thought Peru was. I know he didn't have loads to work with, but God, I thought he was poor in that game, and I would definitely drop him for that one. And just say, look, I know that you're not. I don't need him to absolutely tear ass around because that's not what he is. But you've got to do more than that. That way.
I need you to look competent.
Actually run. Do something.
Yeah, for me, I think he stays in.
I mean, you're probably right, but I'm being hopeful and saying I think this one will be Joseph. As is always the case because he won't be back from work yet. I don't have a prediction of Connie. But both Benny and Alex have gone 3-0 win. What are you fancied?
I'm going to go 2-0 win.
I mean, it's quite reasonable to go for a clean sheet given everything. I think they don't have loads of the ball even when they are attacking, and their manager implied that they wouldn't be taking many chances. So I think it might be quite a slow burn one. I'm going to say 1-0 win.
Is this stop the presses? Team sits deep at Elland Road.
Yeah, it's a rarity. Obviously, this hasn't been a very long pod, but it was never going to be, because what were we going to say about the Burnley game?
I don't know what is closer to putting me to sleep at this point. My lack of sleep at this point, or how boring that game was.
Well, it's quite a rare thing to go, because there was a lot of people in the pub for the game, and by the hour mark, several of them had just turned around. They were just like, if they were following the table, they weren't all facing the same way anymore to look at the screen. Some just turned around and started talking to each other, because they're like, well, nothing's happening. Absolutely nothing's happening. Obviously, I went, just out of pure pessimism, I went for a 1-0 Burnley. But the truth is, I think anyone watching that game 10 minutes in knew it was going to be 0-0.
Oh, the attacking impetus.
What was it when was it when they flashed that stat up? It was about the 81st or 82nd minute, and there hadn't been a shot in the second half. Not a shot on target, a shot.
No one. Like, what that game needed was Rodolph Austin from about 45 yards, just going, you know what, I'm hitting this.
I would have taken that, to be honest, if somebody used to shot from the halfway line. But in theory, the Cardiff game should at least be more entertaining than that. But hopefully it's just a comfortable win, and we can all move on to Wednesday. But I think that's everything that we need to do, Casey.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Ali is going for a 3-1 win, which, that would certainly be a lot more entertaining than the Burnley game. So anyway, that'll do us. I've been Jack. See you.